Hi, everybody. Welcome to Interviews with me, Cristal Ortiz, your host, and I have here today our co-author, Alanna Starr Shimel, and continuing interviews for Poems from the Heart. And we're going to delve into her creative processes and her inspiration to participate with our book. And thank you so much for being here today, Alanna. Happy to
Thank
have
you,
you.
Crystal. Yeah, I'm excited to share all the details.
Okay, great. You look so good after your baby.
So much. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. All right.
I covered my bags pretty good today. Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. Those, and trust me, they don't go anywhere. They don't go anywhere.
Yeah. Babies, they know how to keep you busy.
They do. All right. Even mine are 12 and 9, so they still have me running around
It
ragged.
never
So
ends.
yeah,
Truly never ends. It's a beautiful work.
it is.
Mm.
The most important work. It's not what we do, but who we raise.
It's exactly true. Very true.
Okay, so let's dive into it, guys. What inspired you to participate in Poems from the Heart and share your poetry?
Well, as you know, I've been with Radhaa Publishing for many years. Um, and so Radha has always Radha Nilia is who we're talking about. She's the mastermind behind Radha Publishing and all of the Awakening Starseeds books and Pillars of Light and all the good stuff. So right now we're working on Poems of the Heart, and she's always been a big supporter of my writing. Always told me, you have a way with words, and um, throughout our many different projects together or shows that we've done, we have a YouTube show and a podcast called Deprogrammed. So she's just always been around there telling me, get your work out there, you're amazing with the writing. And so when she approached me with this one, she's like, your poetry is beautiful. Like, let's see if you want to maybe do something with this. And um, so I just pulled out some of my poetry and I was looking at it, I got really inspired. And since I needed the formatting to fit, I actually got to play around with it a little bit and make them smaller. And that was a really cool process. But um, yeah, I'm in the works of working on my own personal poetry book that my beloved has also been a big supporter, Bruno. He's always telling me you have a way with words as well, and he loves my poetry. And so I just thought, you know what, this is a good opportunity to put my work out there and support a really cool collaboration. And I'm glad I did it because it's been really inspiring to to share from the heart, right? To share some deep, intense poetry and and be a voice for the goddess still, and all the different whatever area of work that I'm doing, it's going to be incorporated with that and weaved in. So that's really why I did it, because I have a voice that needs to come forward and to share it. And working with other people allows me to have the confidence to do it. And then like it's a project where it's like it has a deadline, and if I want to be a part of this collaboration, I need to get it done. And that's why I did it, because I'm like, I need that structure. So yes, it's just great to be a part of a teamwork kind of ordeal, and also having the accountability and being able to share the creative force. So that is why.
Okay. I love all of it, all of it.
Yeah.
All right. Are you able to offer a glimpse of the creative process behind your contribution to the collaborative book?
Um, can you actually repeat the question again?
Sure. Okay. Can you offer a glimpse of the creative process behind your contribution to this
Yes.
collaborative book?
As I said before, I kind of gave a little bit of an answer to that in there about how I had to make them shorter to fit.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was really cool to take something like that was vast and like condense it and work with different technologies to make it happen. And so that was a really cool process because, you know, to see that even if you condense it, it still becomes something so profound and beautiful, and you're like, whoa, it's like it's almost like it was meant to be, it was meant to be written this way, to be presented this way, because it already existed. It's like it already existed. Now I was just bringing it to the forefront, and then getting together with everybody to hear each other's poetry on Zoom sessions, and see how they fit together was is really cool too. So the process of um, picking the poetry for this book, it was kind of hard because I have so many pieces, and I'm like, well, which one is going to be meant for this one? And then to have the poetry and then meet with others and then put it together, it really felt like everyone's poetry was just one big piece of poetry. And so, yeah, the creative process has been inspirational and allowed me to get more into my authentic self a little bit more about how I express and how I want to be viewed. Because poetry is so raw, especially like heartfelt poetry, right? It's like you could read someone's poetry and you're like, whoa, they were thinking that way. It's like, but our minds are so vast and beautiful. So I think just being able to get into that authentic flow was the most coolest part of the creative, um, what did you call it?
The create.
The creative process, the process, yes.
Yeah,
So
just the process.
just the process.
Yes. Okay. And how has your experience with Radhaa Publishing House and the Author Incubator Program impacted your poetic journey? And I think you mentioned it a little bit about everybody coming together.
Yeah. Um, well, it's inspired me to write more, first of all. And so the incubator program, you're asking about like how all of us coming together working on this project, how it's inspired my
The
writing.
incubator program, I feel, was when we would do the Zooms together and she would have us have like prompt words. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
And we would all come up with something beautiful, but completely different from whoever else was in the Zoom from those words. That's what I feel it is they when this question is mentioned, the author incubator, because I feel like in a way, like that was our incubation period to help our our creative flow get going.
Yes, yeah. I really enjoyed that too because she would give us the prompt or give us the minute to write, and like, she would say something along the lines of, don't worry about editing it, don't worry about if it makes sense or not, just let the words flow. And like I really actually love the pieces that came through when we did those incubator programs. It's not the actual pieces from the book that I chose, but I was like, whoa, it's a great chance to remember how creative we really are and
Mhm.
how we are channels for, you know, whatever's in the ether or aether coming through that wants to be voiced, whether it's our higher self or a divine spirit, an ancestor or scented master or God, it's everything's God, but it's all coming through and it wants to be voiced. And so when you come together, although it's all different, there's an equal intention
Mhm.
that goes into it. And then you get to come whatever. I feel like the people really enjoyed what I read when I when we did that little project, So yeah, I think that was a really cool process.
Okay. All right. What aspects of the workshops and feedback sessions have helped you refine and enhance your poetry?
I think the praise and people being like, wow, that was profound. Because, we are egoic beings, right, at some level. And we do need that level of feedback that feels good.
Hmm.
And it was nice to give that to others and then to receive it. And so the give and the receiving was very profound for me. and it built my confidence a little more, to really shine and share. So that was my favorite part.
Yeah, that did feel good now that you bring that
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
hmm
All
It's
right.
like, why else do we do these things than not to be seen and heard by our peers and by other people? Because sometimes we feel like, oh, we're dumb, or this is dumb, or I feel silly or immature, like, and then to find out that you touch someone's heart, you're like, oh wow, then I guess I
Like,
am pretty
I did that?
powerful.
Really?
Yeah, because we're
Yeah.
powerful. We're so powerful, and we're often more scared of our power and our success than we are our failure, right? So for me
Mm-hmm.
at least, I definitely have a more fear of success than failure. So because it's like it's yeah, just the way our my brain is. So
It's okay. You're not the only one. Don't don't worry about it.
like how
Okay.
good can I get, right?
In what ways do you feel Poems from the Heart captures the essence of your unique poetic voice and perspective?
Well, what I find when I go back and read some of my poetry, I am always speaking on behalf of the goddess
Mm-hmm.
or the feminine aspect of God, the divine feminine. And I notice that that is definitely a theme surrounding me, especially with these collaborations in particular. So I feel like I've gotten to bring that voice forward more. And I do like I enjoy when you repeat the question again because the first part of the answer comes through and then I kind of forget the question. So go ahead and give me the prompt, the question a little better again.
Okay. What ways do you feel Poems from the Heart captures the essence of your unique poetic voice and perspective?
My unique perspective,
Hmm.
yeah, I just feel like I am a voice for wisdom. I'm a voice for that. So using this book was a reason to share a unique perspective on life, on healing, and getting to the root cause of our suffering and their their beckonings to our heart to come back to it and to become lighter and to have more understanding around why what we're doing here in the world, and our pain and suffering and how to release it and be present. And I think that that has a lot to do with the divine feminine in general. And so, yeah, I think I'm weaving those things together, like how we can heal through poetry.
Okay. Okay. Beautiful. And what message or emotion do you hope readers will take away from your poems in the book?
I hope that they can feel closer to the divine feminine and to the feminine aspect of God. It doesn't mean that we're ignoring the masculine presence at all, but there's an awakening happening
Hmm.
everywhere around us that is coming in tune and in contact with that a little more. And so I hope that people can feel that level of love that she's bringing forth through my voice in particular, and so that way they can feel a resurrection, so to say,
Hmm.
of their heart, so they can become lighter. And that's the essence of what I believe her coming forth during this time and this era. Um, like really the veil being lifted.
Hmm.
And I hope that people can feel that presence through my poetry. I always, I'm a social dancer. I mean, I haven't done it as much since I had kids, not in a long time actually, but socially dancing salsa or bachata or zouk or kizomba, and these dances really require presence, right? And I'm using this example because when I would dance with somebody, I would always like, if I remembered, I make a little prayer in myself while the song was just starting, like, how can I be present in this moment for this person right now? So that way I can give them what they need. And that was my intention with the poetry. Like, which one do I choose? What do I give? I only have 3 poems to fit into the space. And what do you want? Great Mother, like Holy Mother, what do you want? What do you want people to know?
Mm,
What do you want them to feel? And then that's what I tuned into, and that's what I gave.
I love that. I love that. That nurturing, I feel like it nurtured you, and then you were able to share it and, you know, put it to be published. And it's gonna give that same nurturing to others and trickle down.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
It's like, hey,
Okay.
I'm getting this opportunity to share. Why not use that opportunity to give a voice to her, the
Mm-hmm.
capital H. And it also is me. I don't want to like separate her, divine feminine, that's working through me as a separate being. But I mean, it is in a sense, but it also is reminding that I am that.
Mm-hmm.
My vessel is that. And when I'm aligned and in tune with myself, then that's when it fully comes through, God. But in particular, the feminine aspect, because that's the one that's missing. That's the one that's veiled. And that's the one that's coming forward. So that's why I'm bringing it up and I talk about it in that way. So just so we're clear. Not that I'm like, discrediting myself. I'm just, you get me?
Yeah, I get you. I think a lot of our viewers will too. We're all the same, a lot of the same frequency.
Right.
Radha knows what she's doing, bringing
She
people
does.
together.
Yeah.
All right. Can you share any memorable moments or insights gained during your involvement with Radha Publishing House and the collaborative project?
Hmm. For this one, all we've really done so far is meet together and share our poetry and ideas and stuff, and all that stuff is amazing in itself. Being able to get with other writers, other authors who, are supportive and creative, and it's inspiring. But really, the real stuff I love is when we actually get to have our book signings and get outside and around people to like share it. And then when the actual book comes in your hand and you see it, those are like my that's the part I can't wait for. I'm excited for that. But yeah, just as in all my answers, it really is getting together with the group and sharing and hearing and getting the feedback and the
Mhm.
confidence, the boost to like, oh, we're almost there. Let's share, from the heart. Let's get more authentic, and that's the part I like.
Absolutely. All right. And how has participating in this project empowered you as a poet and contributed to your growth and development?
Well, I feel definitely a lot closer to my own poetry book being published. I mean, it reminds me, I already had a bunch of it. It was pretty much there already. Um, Although one poem came specifically for this book. One
Ah,
is two are older ones that I actually condensed to
uh-huh.
make relatable for this book, and then one is one that I channeled for this one in particular. And yeah, I think that it got me a lot closer to the belief that I'm gonna get this out, that I'm gonna publish multiple books in my lifetime, and that I can do it, that it's possible. It was yeah, awakening to that remembrance that I can do it.
Okay. I'm sorry, I had to kick everybody out of the house while I did this, and they are texting me, "Can we come back yet?" No, you cannot.
I know how it is, right? We just need this quiet time to be able to
I'm
to
sorry, I
share.
didn't want you to feel like I wasn't present, but like no, you can't come back in the house yet. I'm sorry. The the only place to put the computer was out here in the living room,
Well, we're
and
almost done anyway. We only
yeah,
have a little bit of
so
time left,
I'm like,
so.
no, you guys can't come in yet. I didn't want you to feel like I'm not being present
Oh yeah, no worries.
with all the I totally am. Okay.
We have to be as real as we can these days, We're not fake people. We're just real people that have homes and families, and my kids will come in during literally the interviews. It's funny. Anyway, let's spend our time getting back into
We
the.
have we have a little under 9 minutes. Okay. So, can you share a significant moment or experience that solidified your passion for poetry?
I mean, I've always had a passion for poetry. Uh, but I think it would be in college when I was doing my getting my English classes out of the way. I was pretty high up there in English. I was always pretty good at it. And I had to put together a huge packet of all poetry and written material for my final for this I can't remember which class it was, but it was like one of the higher English classes like um and I had to like submit all this poetry, and when I was gathering it all, I couldn't believe how much I had. I was like, wow, some of the stuff I don't even remember writing, but it's like it reminded me, it was like a pivotal moment where I was putting it together and I was like, I actually really like poetry, and I didn't really know that I had the gift, but I that's when I was like, oh, well, I guess I do have a gift for writing. It's probably why I'm in a high level English class right now. And so that, yeah, just like realizing that I had it in me, that's when I realized that poetry was important to me. So,
Okay, all right. And as we approach the release of Poems from the Heart, what are you most excited about, and how do you plan to promote the book within your network or community?
well, I love to show up to as many book signings as possible and actually facilitate my own if I can. I know that a lot of Barnes and Nobles are not doing in-person things, but I plan to hound them to let me do it because a lot of the Barnes and Nobles since COVID happened, they stopped doing in-person book signings. So in my area at least, but I plan to like, try to reach out to smaller bookshops and see about doing things there. And yeah, of course, social media, posting it, sharing it, get the likes and all that, because it's also part of the process. It's like the acknowledgement of things feels so good, and then yeah,
Yes.
so I'm excited to get that acknowledgement and for to inspire other people to do, if they have an opportunity to share that they do it too for collaborations like this.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, share and
Share, share.
help
And then
everybody out.
when each one of us shares, we're all sharing each other as well.
Right.
Okay. Um, how do you overcome creative blocks or challenges when writing poetry? And do you have any tips for other writers?
Cry, bang your head against the wall. Just kidding. I'm kidding. Uh, I would just say don't force it. If it doesn't flow, then, it doesn't have to rhyme. Okay. It doesn't have to rhyme. That was my biggest block before. I always thought it had to rhyme some level, but it doesn't. It just has to make sense to you. You
Hmm.
know, Oh, often we feel like we're trying to like create something just to make people happy when you're not being authentic with yourself and you're not congruent with yourself. So, you know, be real with yourself and just let that come forward and then try to edit later. Like, don't
Hmm.
worry about editing right away. And yeah, just let that creative process come through naturally and go back and read it later. Also,
Yeah.
record yourself talking and then transcribe
Oh, I have to
because
do
I like
that.
that too. I have a lot of recordings, and then I go back and I put it in things, and then you can use the chat GPT and shorten it up there, whatever. But always go back and make sure it's you. Make sure it's you talking and not somebody else.
Hmm. Okay. Those are really good. Okay. And why do you believe Poems from the Heart is so important today? And what do you hope it will contribute to the literary landscape?
Well, anything we can do right now to get back into our heart space is super important and potent and like number one priority for humanity right now. So anything you can do, whether it's reading poetry or writing poetry, these are great tools, a voice of wisdom to hear and find and tune into. So, yeah, the any kind of books like this, they're great. And yeah,
Okay.
I'm not sure if I answered that fully, but
I think you did. Okay. How do you plan to celebrate the release of Poems from the Heart, and what does this milestone mean for you?
uh, it means that I'm doing good work in the world and contributing to positivity and high vibrations and high frequencies.
Mhm.
A reminder of that we're sacred and that we are on the cusp of like heaven on earth, really, if we can get to that attunement. And
Mhm.
no matter what's going on around us, there's a darkness going around too, but also is greatness. So, yeah, just could get me closer to publishing my own books too. Collaborations are beautiful, but also my own personal collection.
Yeah, I would love to get to my own personal. So you're already on your way. Good for you.
Thank you.
I love that for you. Okay. Um, what legacy do you hope Poems from the Heart will leave behind, both for you as a poet and for the readers who engage in it?
I hope that you remember your divinity and see how alike the poetry is, and they're from all over the world. I haven't met half the people in the book before, but we think a little bit of like. So there's some synchronicity there. There,
Mhm.
if you read it all together and don't separate the names, you would think it's one big poem. So I just ask you to remember how alike we are in our differences, because we're all connected by God. We're not connected by our divine spark. So just remember that whenever you're judging, right? We're just all the
Yeah,
same.
indeed we
So
are.
in
One,
Lahayek Elakin, I think it is, and I am another you. I
um,
probably said it wrong. I can't. I always say it a little off, but it's a Mayan saying. But I am another you. I see you in myself.
okay. Yeah, it makes sense. I'm gonna have to look into that because I don't know the term either.
I'll
So
send it to you.
okay, yeah, I would
I'll
love
post in a
that.
comment in this video later too. Yeah,
All right.
Alakin. Yeah.
And so our last question, how did Radha Publishing help you accomplish your poetic goals and dreams?
Just the support, completely supporting me, and because Radha is my friend as well as my, um, someone I'm working with, collaborating. She is. I think it's good to have someone that can, push you and get you there, and I think she really does care about getting our voices out there. It's not just a quick money maker, it's also a lot of work to put into that. So I'm just grateful for that.
Okay, great. I love it.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much. Thank you so much, Alanna, for joining me today and allowing me to interview you now. I remember you interviewing me for
Yes,
Awakening Star Seeds. So I like this little full circle we've made together.
likewise.
And thank you so much for coming here today. And until next time, viewers, this is
Blessings.
Cristal again.